Yeah, we can start. Just I'm facing some connectivity issues today, Pranamita. If I get disconnected, maybe you can, go ahead and start.
All
So,
right.
without further ado, before I get disconnected, let's start.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome
Hello.
to this webinar today. Welcome, Arun, Pranamita. I'm Anu Bajaj from Gallery Art Positive. Our gallery was set up in 2005, and we are very proud to say this is our 15th year running. Over the course of these last 15 years, we have showcased, hundreds of artists. We have done prominent shows, worked with, prominent curators, and we've done workshops and shows and, talks in our gallery in Ladossarai and other venues in the city. Now, with this pandemic, we take this as a challenge as we'll try to take this as a new opportunity to bring in different ways of showcasing art and to do online shows and expand and try and keep the discourse alive. While, of course, running an art gallery is about the business of art, but at the same time, we as a part of the art community do have a large
I think there is some problem again. She will log in, but we can continue for now. She can speak later at the end also. So, good afternoon, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you here for our first session on art plus practice. And thank you, Anu Bajaj, Gallery Director of Gallery Art Positive, to introduce the program. So before starting, I would just like to give a brief about Shield Art Initiative. I can see some of the artists who have already worked with us in Shield Art and know about the same, but there may be some new members. So I'm just giving a brief introduction. Shield Art is a small initiative started by me with some of my artist friends. And we have been working for last 5 years in the field with our little efforts to encourage young talents through exchange of thoughts and artistic discourse. We have been doing this through artist talks, presentations, workshops, studio visits, and exhibitions. And we collaborate with different entities to do the same. So in this online talk session has been named as Art Plus Practice. And for the same, for this, Shield Art has joined hands with Gallery Art Positive. And we plan to bring in different art practitioners with a diverse artistic practice, which we hope can inspire and help some of the young and emerging artists to follow their visions. We always encourage interactive and informal conversation. So today also we want to keep this session open for discussion in the last 20 minutes. And those who want to speak can press the button raise hands or can type it in the chat box, and I will get back to you at the end of the session and once the presentation is over. So for today's, we don't want to make the presentation very close, and we always want to make this very open and interactive. So that is our format always. So for today's session, we have here artist Arun Kumar HG. Arun Kumar HG, born in 1968 in Karnataka. He completed his bachelor and master degree in fine arts from University of Baroda. Since then, he has been working in various disciplines. He has a long-term visual engagement with ecological disharmonies, investigating the journey of farmers from his native in the Western Ghats, along with his ongoing engagement with ecological disorders breathing in our society. So here he will be sharing some of those important works and projects with us today. And Arun also runs an organization in his native place where they work towards creating awareness with community engagement, bringing in locals, and also inviting intellectuals for lectures and campaigns So we look forward to hear about his project on SARA Center in today's session. So Arun, you can start on your presentation, and we all will join you again.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Pranamita. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pranamita. Thank you, Shield, and thank you, Anuji, Art Positive, for organizing this and giving me an opportunity to speak to some of you. Yeah, in this occasion, as the title goes for today's discussion, I would like to share some of my works and also some of my, engagement with community and especially engaging environmental issues with, together with the community. I can't separate them. So I will begin with my slides. I'll share the screen. Okay. In this session, I would like to show some of my works, which is very pertinent to this discussion. Yeah, this work is done in 2010, between 2007 to 10. I jump into this work because this speaks about the whole issue, where I come from and what I do now at the moment. This work is part of the series called or body of work called Tract, and this work is called Bhojanalay. Actually, this work is grown on the table, this wheat, and I just wanted to start with this because this is this is a practice based, and then you have to be really you have to be really with the real situation. That is actually you're growing a wheat. So this is how it was grown. For 3-4 months in 2000, between 2007 and 8, and yeah, this is how it was finally put up. And then this also got a small sound piece to it. The sound piece is actually my mom, grandmom, singing in this. Obviously, she's not there, but how she used to sing in the farm while working. That is actually this. Yeah, this is that is about that work. Actually, why I started was that I since my works I come from a farming background, and I mean there are many who come from different various backgrounds, and this is where I have come from. At this time of my practice, I really had many questions after graduating from art school and having worked with various materials and things. So there was a huge question in me: what do I do with this art education and experience with art practice? So that was obviously, it was actually, I could see all that when I was on the farm, and also not just on my farm, around us. If we open our eyes, there is actually so much to see, and we always hear, and most of the news about agrarian crisis is all hidden. It doesn't come out. So I thought at that time, during 2005 to 10, I really, really took on this to basically it was a study for myself, and I wanted to see this crisis very close as possible through my works. So other work is that basically what causes this agrarian crisis and all this migration and all this, it's a very complex issue. It was not as simple, as we see. So I got into this, and then this work is called Bhumi Ki Khurak. It is all about, um, uh, you know, this is one of the reason, it connects to environment and agricultural practice, and how it, affects the whole ecosystem of environment and agriculture. I don't separate them, though we have separate ministries like Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Environment and Forest and all that, but it is all, it is coexisting and we can't separate them. So you see all these chemical names that which even we don't know what the composition is and how deadly they are and all that. This is just to give you an idea. So this is part of my body of work called Tract. This is, the title is Bhumi Ki Khurak. So here, since 2005-6 onwards, I had been closely involved with agricultural sector and spending more time on the field. And this series of works in 2010 onwards, this is called Vulnerable Guardians. This comes after my spending more time with this thing. What I found out is that these farmers, these are actually farmers' portraits, along with lone trees on the farm and edge of the cities and all that. So I call them vulnerable guardians because they are the guardians. They are the guardians of soil. They are the guardians of environment. They are the guardians of ecology, forest, and they are the guardians, but they are in such a position. So so I did a series of work with these farmers and portraits. These farmers are not just random. These people are whom I have been associated. Some of them are my relatives and my family members and all that. So what you see here at the background, where I have used these images. These images are actually printed on wooden surface, the wood that I have collected from the industrial scrapyard, just where I live. I spend some time in cities and some time in my farm. So this, as you see, the wood at the back, it is actually, you can connect it with the wood. Let's say when we say where all the forest gone, it is all gone there, shipping goods from one place to another. And so this material, wood that I collect from the scrapyard, it goes very well as an evidential material. So and also, you can compare with these images over there, the lone trees or lone farmers, and they're actually lone in households. They are quite lonely because they got stuck because they have no option, and they don't want their children to be continuing in the farming because they know the hardship and it is not paying. So they are lonely because their sons and daughters are gone as migrants to cities. Yeah, so these are more images of that, the series of that work. And so more of these, because I had been documenting this, the images of migrants in the cities and empty villages. So this is, I'm not basically documenting one part and thinking of one part. Basically, you're tracking them from way they originate and why they move, and and then they are also, they keep going back to uh, to continue with the farm, or they stay back here and then they send money, and so that farming practice continues somehow. So that is the thing. So I had been documenting these images. So these are, you can see them on city corners in the mornings, and they wait for a work, the employers to pick them up and all that. So many artists have been documenting these images. And so I had been doing this work. Actually, this series also, I have produced some works in various shows. This is, as you can see, in one of the show in Mumbai in 2015. So this is close up of the same work, and this was in 2013 in KNMA. So it was curated by uh, Vidya Shivdas and some other curators. So yeah, this is a close-up of that display. And this work was also done similar time in 2012 and exhibited in one of the residencies. The residency was Hotel de Immigrants. So this title of this work was Cosmopolitan Strangers. So this was part of the performance of other artists. So other work of this time, from 2010 onwards, I've completely concentrating on various aspects of this, agrarian issues and migration and things. And during this time, I was also working in a toy industry for long, actually. So in that industry, I got a very close proximity to the migrant workers, how they come to the cities and then live. It was a place where I could really talk to them, for many years. I worked there for almost 15 years. So I used to meet them, and then this work was made in 2014 as Breathing Space. Actually, I used to go and visit these houses, small rooms where they live. So this is actually that work called Breathing Space. These are actually digital prints on, it was almost like a real size, almost. So coming back to some of the other works called Construction 2, this was also started from 2015 onwards, completed in 2018. In my artworks, I as my material shows, except some digital prints on paper, but mostly I work with available real materials wherever I find them on construction sites and wherever. And this, what you see here is from a construction site, a tree, and I used to bring them and keep them in the studio and then slowly working on them. This is called construction. Again, so this, you see a kind of human figure in this. So this is about, I wanted to bring in that human element, very predominant human element that is very human centric. It's all about us, not really about other beings of this earth. So I just wanted to show that how the human figure, obsessed with ourselves and slowly infringing with, the environment, and then how we ourselves getting into a kind of trap because of this encroachment. We are not encroaching. Now the situation is that, we are in a vulnerable situation because of, our own deeds. So this is also part of the same construction series of show. um, from the show called Construction. And this wood is actually, again, the same wood that I collected from the scrapyard, put them together. This is actually a kind of act of bringing all the, when you go to a scrapyard, you will see them, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, the tons of wood that has been lying, and you will really, that really puts you into thoughts that where does it come from, and it's some, machines coming from Japan, Korea, here and there. I don't know where all, ultimately they come and end up there. So I thought of putting them together and again construct the reason behind their displacement. This is actually the very human-centric nature of us. This is called timeline of backwash. This work is also done over 4-5 years. Again, the same wood, and bringing elements of history and all that. The historical element in this work is actually volumes that was created in Malabar in the 17th century. Governor of Malabar, Dutch governor of Malabar, then he commissions to document the flora and fauna of the Western Ghats. So I had taken some images from that volume, and actually borrowed that part of the history to this kind of imaginative lost forest. Yeah, this is again from the same uh, construction series work, and wood is again pieces put together, and half elephant, half. So this work is called Dropping in the Dam. Actually, if you see closely, it is actually collected bottle tops over 6 months from a society where I live over 6 months. Mostly it's 100,000 bottle tops, plastic bottle tops. You can see them. So I thought of using this real material and to bring that enormity of the sense of enormity of waste that we produce. So you can see that, and this work is actually more of a community engagement here. This was done last year here. There was a project called Where Does It Go? It's about plastic in Gurgaon neighborhood, organized by I Am Gurgaon, an organization. So this work, I thought this is actually a larger project involved with a lot of artists, about 10, 12 young artists. They have done their pieces. This one is basically a kind of anchoring piece to, kind of interactive, to people go in, go out and see the kind of, our own, to see the waste of our own livings. So it was very interesting because most of Gurgaon schools, they came with their students and teachers and corporate guys. They used to come and they spent, this work was there for more than a year, and recently it was been taken off. So yeah, this is the last work of, in this discussion. This is called, this was a project in Mumbai Art Room in 2012. This is the time I seriously thought of moving away from my studio practice. What a studio practice is now, we basically sit and spend more time in studios and produce works. And so I didn't want to do this, and then I wanted to spend more time on the site, real sites, real situations. So this, in 2012, after my show, that was in 2010, Tract, I took this decision to spend more time on the farm. So what you see here, this work is called ProSeed. This work is made of more than 100 varieties of seeds in this. These seeds are edible seeds, and also other part of the installation is called relief. Leaves collected from the forest nearby where I live, and also where I have been growing a forest. So this is all collected from there. Um, yeah, it was a small room though. So one side there are leaves of different trees and flora, and the other side is the seeds of where there are forest seeds and food seeds, agricultural seeds, and things like that. So we don't generally see this part, actually, the seeds. When we eat food in cities, we get ready-made food, processed food, and we don't really see. And if when we buy vegetables, we don't see the real seeds. And now seeds are also monopolized by seed companies, and there are much deeper politics behind all this. So this, I thought this was very important here to show this installation. And this was done in Mumbai. I seeing the metropolis weavers, I thought this is very interesting to reintroduce maybe the biodiversity, which brings us the food security, and also uh, other securities, water securities, and the all kind of thing. It is all based on these very basic seeds and forest and all that. So you can see closely the kind of seeds that are used here. Yeah, so these are some of the works that I showed you as part of my practice, which I wanted to, when I questioned myself, what do I do with my art education and art, experience with my, engagement with art. And so I thought, let me spend more time on the farm and see. It is actually it's a both way, actually. It is uh, um, you also receive so much information, and also uh, trying and testing if our knowledge can be useful on the site, on a situation like this. On the map you see here, this is where my where I grew up, and that's where the farm is, and that's where the SARA Center is. SARA Center, as you can see, stands for Sustainable Alternatives for Rural Accord. So you can see the location. Location is in the biodiversity hotspot of the world, one of the 10 biodiversity hotspots of the world, that is Western Ghats. So we have only left with that much. Some in the northeast there, and Eastern Ghats there are some, but this is Western Ghats is where still we have some part, and that is where this is situated. And then that's where I thought this is most important for me to set up this infrastructure, a building space, and it is actually a place. It's a very it's in the forest, almost forest, where agriculture setup is, and hardly you will find any infrastructure for discourse, like farmers uh, you know participation, and intellectuals, and there are intellectuals, theater activists, and writers, but very limited a platform for everybody to come together, especially with farmers. So I thought, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to we could bring them on, creating a platform, a very friendly for platform for them, so that they come, or we bring them, or we create a kind of atmosphere so that they feel like joining in this, or they share their knowledge, or they share their pain, or it is all about that. So this has that purpose. So this table shows you what Sara Center means, and then it is, our art culture, and is just part of it, the whole thing. So, and I will not go much in detail because there is so much to talk, because since I've been involved there for like most last 7-8 years, spending more time creating network and continuously keeping the discourse going by various programs. So we'll come next to that. This is basically the basics of Sara. And I am still, though I was born and brought up there, and I have been going there, keeping myself in touch there, but still I'm seen as an outsider. So that is quite natural. But I had to really struggle myself to be a kind of insider. So I had to strategize various ways of getting slowly myself engaged with schools, children, teachers, and all that. This is one of the program in 2015, and then in 2016 we did something else. So the Sara Center is actually, it's not run by one person, and as the whole purpose is to bring in various section of society, including farmers, teachers, students, and so in Sara is now is run by of course some of us as visual artists, and there are theater activists, and there are intellectuals, writers, and philosophers, and everybody is there, all there, and now they're all slowly coming together. And that was the whole idea, because unless we come together and share our knowledge, working in isolation, I thought it is not really going to make that much of impact. So now, since we are all coming together and working together, the impact is much better. So art is slowly coming. It is not full art, because art there, the kind of art education that we have got, the kind of art practice that is here in the urban center, doesn't really do much in that other setup. There, it is very practical. It has a very different purpose. So I had to really learn all that, and then bring in strategies to so all that. So in 2017, our group, we in Sara thought of taking a bigger project that's called Western Ghats Eco Walk. We thought of traveling from one point to another. That was about 157 kilometers over 6 days. And here we, asked our artist friends to contribute, some of artistic images with environmental message, which could be easily, absorbed by the locals. So there are international artists as well, and our artist friends in India. So about 150 artists donated more than 250 posters. So they're all there, and what you see here, these are some of the samples from our friends. So there are more on the web page. They're all there. They are very useful. Now have them on the in the center, and we take them, and they serve a lot of purpose. It's so in this part of, in 2017, we in over 6 days of walk, we reached about more than 50,000 people. about 25,000 students and teachers from one stage to other. So, we had designed our plan, our program so well that there is more participation from the locals. So we involved local organizations, local governments to be part of it. We didn't really had to spend much because they were hosting us, in every point. Somebody hosted us lunch, somebody hosted us dinners, somewhere, hosted us stay, and there were meetings, and so on the way. It was really fun and a lot to learn from that experience. So this was actually taking the art to the public and also gauging the kind of response, what kind of response we get. But the response was really good. So you see some of those images here. And in 2018, we thought we'll take another stretch. Western Ghats is big, and so in 2018 we took another stretch that was slightly smaller than the previous one. Though we managed, most of it here. We learned many ways of how quickly we could install these, exhibits. We had to do it all in 5 minutes and wind up in another 5 minutes, giving them 30 minutes, and including all. So they were, we improvised a lot in on the way. So there were graffitis. There were a lot of young artists coming from Baroda and Delhi joined us for these two walks. That was really, really interesting. And one of the motive of the Sara Center is again to bring in more young artists there, for them to open up the possibilities while they are into art, beginning in the art world and art practice. So not just in urban centers. So we thought we must show them other possibilities. And still, the Sara Center is there, and then there are many programs that's going to come up inviting younger artists. And apart from these walks and things, we have seminars and workshops, so film screenings and a lot of things. So, this, I mean, since last 2-3 months, it's not really active, but we are active outside. That is how are we active in outside is that we have come up with this idea of Swagrama. Mostly, one might ask you, one might ask me actually, what is this? How much surveys and where is art in it and all that. But you will come to know. But it is like preparing ground for how one prepares a ground for making canvas and making any this thing. It's like ground that we are preparing for kind of community participation and community engagement. And so where if there is no such preparation, we have to prepare. So what is happening nowadays in the villages is that they have gone into negative zone, that they see people from outside very suspiciously, that as we are that's quite natural. So we had to build the bridge and bring that confidence and trust. So this Swagrama is basically a sustainable village model based on Gandhi's village Swaraj. So here we are not like like what we did in the walk. We were just moving from one place to another. It is not like that. It is like we have taken this we have taken up 4 villages of 4 different panchayats around our area for as a pilot project for 1 year. In 1 year, we have been doing like, we have been having constant meetings, initially with 4 members, 5 members like that. But now you can see many members there. We have dialogues, they have anger to show, they have, all sort of things that happens in the meeting. We have to really listen to them patiently and uh, tell them that, this is not, we are not here for, touch and go. So basically, Gandhi's Village Swaraj didn't really go far. So his idea was to make villages, self-sustainable with their arts and crafts and, everything. So village, his idea was to keep the village economy intact and not really letting the villages migrate to the cities like we have at the moment. So this is where, I mean, we have been doing this since last 1 year actually on the ground, but we have been sensing it, for a very long time. This is going to happen, and this has happened just now. This has been exposed. This COVID-19 has exposed the whole vulnerability of this, this whole practice of migration. So everybody now, everybody is talking about it. Hope something comes out of it. Our idea here is to make this, let's see, if this can work. You can see this table. What does a Swagrama project means? So you can see that, from all aspects, how one, this is all come with, not just by ourselves imposing ideas to them. It is all coming out of discussion with the villagers. What we generally also have surveys done, maybe for the first time, 100 more questions apart from the, government census. The census members go and ask them a very set 10 questions. But, we had so many different questions that could open up the real problem. So this is really going much deeper into the whole, the problems. You will see here how we have meetings, not just one meeting. We have like, meeting every a week, maybe 10 days, stealing them from their work. And, but now they are coming, and we are having much positive effect that you will see now. So, we did, I mean, this is just a part of it that I'm showing here because, I had to close it in for 4 or 5 minutes so that there is time for discussion. So, the first thing there, we came up with, water security is the major thing. Water security, what was the natural source about 40 years before the borewell came into practice, and what is happening now? So we have taken all that and then now reviving lakes with villagers' help, and of course with some kind-hearted people. They are coming up with some donations, and that we are able to start with the 4th lake in the last 1 month. We are with the community involvement and all that. So we are very happy that we are not just making lakes here. We are doing so much by making lakes here. So we are making basically so many connections with one action here. So that will all come later, And the other project at the SARA is that, we have a permanent kind of spaces here for regular visits of students and teachers and anybody, I mean, even villagers. For them, what is it there? Basically, the local issues, local environmental and life issues that, related to life, how the issues are affecting. So there will be a kind of archive here, very organic archive, in the sense it's not going to be some things are kept and things, but this archive will grow. What will the archive have is all that we in the last 70 years, let's say, uh, I mean, Independent India has taken up a lot of developmental projects. So all the developmental projects are, have one-way traffic, like, all about profit making, not really concentrating on the losses, due to those. Like electricity, let's say we need electricity, we need, things, our homes need more lights and all that. But, we can't just uh, destroy our ecology and environment just because we need electricity, but we can find a balanced way of it. You know, so the archive is going to do is that, there are a lot of material, written material, visuals, testimonials are in fragments here and there. We would like to bring them all together and put them there, and let the students and teachers and villagers debate, you know, what is really the developmental, goals, and what is real development is. And as you see, the title of this archive is going to be Deeds of Development and Citizens Account. And who balances all this bad deeds of development is all the citizens. How each, in various places, each individuals have taken up this task of balancing it, and or um, the bad deeds. uh, so there are organizations doing it, and whole lot of things. So, let the students and teachers and all the people, let them decide, seeing all this material there, what is happening here. That is what is the purpose of this. It is in process. It is going to come up very soon. Work is happening at the moment. So these are some of the case studies that is actually around us there in the Western Ghats and life there. Maybe you can catch up something here. You can get an idea. I will not really go much in detail here. So these are some of the testimonials. How does our electricity come? By submerging thousands of hectares of green forest, and submerging the culture, submerging everything. And there is a uh, darkness over that aspect of it. We have to really throw light on it. What is uh, what is behind this electricity by units that we get it for 4 rupees or 5 rupees per unit? So then if we know the real cost of it, maybe we use it more diligently. That's what we need to, I mean, this is one of the example. So, and you will see this in this slide, you will see, how thousands of hectares of green forest and life there is being submerged over for 60 years, 70 years. And it is, what I'm saying is just there, but you can imagine what's happening. So now I was just showing there the case studies of in what is happening in the Western Ghats. There are so much is happening. We need paper, we need pulp, but we just, government gave a permission to government to grow foreign species, invasive foreign species in the Western Ghats without really thinking, and then that has destroyed the biodiversity of the land. So these are, we need to see this. What our development, what is the cost of our development, just to show. So and we have this, there is, you must have heard about this endosulfan in Kerala. It's actually Karnataka border, Kasargod. There, since I mean, very recently, this, because of the citizens protest and this thing, that they have stopped it. But earlier they used to do a aerial spray of endosulfan on cashew plantation. So there's so much damage. Do we get to see what all happens? When the deadly chemicals get into the water table, and we consume it, and then you see what happens. This is how they used to spray endosulfan. So how there are organizations and citizens, how they are educating people and fighting, and finally government has stopped it. So these are all basically what Sara Center wants to do there. And so this is basically, in a nutshell, and I have taken more than like 30 minutes for this. So, now I would like, I'm there, so you can ask me any questions. We can have a, debate. So over to Pranamita.
If anyone wants to ask any question, please go ahead. Thank you, Arun, for such an insightful presentation and an enriching journey of yours as an environmental activist. So day before yesterday, like on 5th June, we had World Environmental Day, and the theme for this year is biodiversity. So it was really great to have you here in our opening session of Art Plus Practice and to know your artistic contribution towards the same. So if there are any questions, we can take on. Otherwise, I can ask you something like, as we can see, you have shown works from your show Construction. Yeah. So that happened in Galleries Past. So you have worked with collected woods used from recycled woods or taken from construction site. And as a sculptor also, you have involved with different material. So can you tell us your choice of material and engagement, and how the young artist can engage with the material? Lots of artists struggle to deal with the material as a...
Okay. Here, there's some disturbance. Okay.
No.
Yeah. See, what I'm doing at the moment is that, basically bring in elements that supports the discourse through, work. So the material helps a lot. So, the very first thing is that, if I say something, if I don't practice what I really say through my works, then it is contradiction. And also, while there is so much junk that we have never seen before, we have got so much of junk around us. So that tells us so much, and that demands a lot of things from artists. So, and we don't need to go for fresh materials. And then I think we must stop, I mean, obviously when there is need, we have to use, but obviously, each thought process that demands certain kind of material, that thought process itself demands. So, when we go out and when we look out, that hits you, basically, and then that's where you choose that material, and then you take the help of the material to, strengthen your thought process. That is basically, and yeah, obviously, the lot of young artists are actually doing diverse art practice now, and no more it is, just getting stuck to traditional material, but that's also not wrong. But basically, it's much easier for us to uh, go with the available material which has a history. So yeah, that's my point.
And if you can share some inspiration behind bringing Sara Center in your native place, which is also like going back and making a reconnection to the roots. As you said, you are an outsider in that place, and you try make yourself being insiders. So
Yeah. So see, there is a selfishness also for me, because selfishness is that when I spend more time in the studio, uh, you you don't really get more, because you need a lot of inputs, information, and what is happening. You need to explore. So I mean, it was happening simultaneously. I wanted to go out, and it's also my home, my community, my people, my own home, and my home as a farming family which has failed, and I wanted to look for answers. Why is it failed? It is not just sitting outside and blaming them. You know it is not that. Basically, we have to get out and see what are the issues, burning issues. So basically it is that. And but I had to really take that step of uh, moving away from this, and then um, somehow it is working so far, I think, I hope. But I'm really getting enriched day by day, because I'm able to meet so many people, like farmers, intelligent farmers, very experienced farmers, and intellectuals over there, with real situation, living in a real situation, not really sitting far away from the reality, and talking about issues. People are there, living there with the real issues and real situation. It is very interesting to I mean, really it is enriching me. I'm really happy that I have taken this step about 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And I can see myself that how much I have enriched myself.
So, and right now in the current situation, like the how do you think as an art practitioner the COVID-19 has impact you as an artist, or it's going to affect your art practice, or would you like to suggest something for the young artists in the moment of crisis? Because there is so much at this moment, like one way it's the pandemic, the disease is there, it's locked down, and the economy has crashed. So you'd like to share something as your
Yeah, it is a very tough time we are all going through. We have to just learn to live with it, and also fight such situation don't occur again. Because I have read, and what we are doing in Swagramma, or in this whole this thing, is all kind of intuition that we have, a lot of environmentalists and thinkers have been warning for such a situation. It is not something that is. I mean, I was not very surprised when it happened, because people were really. But I didn't know it would happen just like one morning like this. But this has been there, going on for long. I mean, the scare was there. The scare was there. The scare is here already. Now we have to fight together, and with our artistic experience, with our artistic knowledge, we can really do something. So I think, you know, I mean, we can do simultaneously many things. We don't have to really switch over from what we are doing, and we can really do what we are doing now, and then we can also keep looking out, and we can really go out and explore things, and we can apply our artistic experience to such a situation, so that we can warn for more you know I mean much worse time which is going to come. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Anyone want to speak up? Don't worry about the language. You can say anything. Hi, yeah, Dayanand. Let me unmute you.
Pranamita, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Just one question from. Yeah, Dayanand, you can speak now.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Say. I can hear you.
Actually, he's getting muted.
Yeah. Now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. I am from Mysore, actually.
Okay.
I love that new project what you're working on. Actually,
Okay.
I'm as a farmer son, and my art practice is similar. I can't compare to you, but something to do with what is my father, my grandfather did with my ancestors, who's farming family.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested, like what you doing now in this your hometown.
Yeah.
Like what is the like I'm a young I'm very new to this art field, and suddenly my thoughts is I want to go in that path. So I literally scare sometimes, because frankly speaking, it's economically questions.
Yeah.
And also like what will do, like if I shift like that, what will happen my expression. So this all my questions as like a like uh, uh,
Okay, I understand.
yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. See. I mean, it happens, but if we have good intention, if I mean, it takes a while. Basically, initially we will have some issues. Initially there will be an issue, because people will say that you are madman. What are you doing here, and all that. So don't listen to it. Only our work will speak, and work. I mean, good work, good intention. Our artistic mind, obviously, we are much better. We can put things in a much better way. So once you have to use all those strategies to attract people. So this is what we are doing basically. Why people are coming together, because they think this is something interesting, and art attracts people. Art is, the old saying is that it's an agent of change. So people come together, and then we have to when people come together, and then we have to be very we have to be careful, and we have to welcome, and we have to shed a lot of ego issues. So and that's what I do there, because you have to give each individual's space for their space. So things will move, but don't expect anything overnight. Don't expect anything in just short time. You can do a lot of things, but we have to sustain also, right? Like, that is very important. So we can't just do touch and go project. We just do something there and we run away. It's I think pointless. That will basically, that kind of attitude will demoralize people. Hey, people come from cities, and then they just do something, and they use us and all that. So, but they will understand. People will understand our intention. If there is a good intention, they will understand. If there is a bad intention, they will understand that also. Yeah. All the best, and you are welcome to our center for visiting, learning, being part of it. I mean, we welcome all the young artists. At some point, they will come there. Already, many people have come. So, I am most, you are most welcome to our center, and so you can learn faster. How we are doing, and how you can do if you want to do. So that is why this whole center is opened up. We are in the making of new programs all the time. Programs are happening. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Like, definitely I'll come and visit, and I want to part of that.
Sure.
So, and one more last question. Like,
Yeah.
you said, still you feel that outsider, when you work within a community
Yeah.
based project or anything do with this local issues or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I also kind of some of the project I involved. It's like a kind of a seeing the outsider.
Yeah.
Even though I'm in there from the beginning,
Yeah.
like how to deal with those things. Like I'm really a little sometimes confused, like what I'm really doing. So, is there anything?
Yeah. I got it. I wanted to tell you this one thing for anybody, but this outsider, insider, this issue will be there because the migration issue. It's like one-way traffic, because they think we have nothing in the village and we should all move to urban centers for better life. That is a very common perception now. So if somebody goes back, then they are suspicious. Maybe he's failed. Maybe all those kind of suspicions. So, but it takes time. This I'm still an outsider, but we have to. Only our good work will win their heart. Only our good work, innovativeness, that's where art comes. So that is where we that is a challenge for us as an artist if we want to do. So this is I mean, world over, there are people seeing this as a social practice, as one of the extension of art practice. Social practice is as an extension of art practice. So we have to learn. We have to learn, how we learn to do other, various things in art practice. So this is also another skill that we have to develop.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you. If there are no questions, then we can continue the discussions in coming time again.
Okay.
So I'd like to pass on to Mrs. Anu Bajaj, because you got disconnected when we started.
Yeah. So firstly, thank you, Arun. This was so enriching and thought-provoking, and you have truly found your purpose. I can see the passion, with which you are undertaking this endeavor, which is this huge endeavor. And this is something that, of course, right now it's something which is the need of the day. It's been highlighted. I remember in 2014 when you did that work for our gallery.
Yes.
Places.
Yeah.
I mean, at that time as well, that work was, I could not believe that 6x6 square that you made was an actual house or actual room where a migrant worker lived.
Almost.
Yes. So it's, now looking at how things have gone, it's even more pertinent, that we step up and become conscious and, at least start these dialogues. So, interestingly, Arun, one of my friends has messaged me privately right now that she says that she's a part of Rotary, and she says we would like to sponsor a village.
Fantastic.
So, I'm so glad that at least we've started, a conversation on this, on this platform. And then, this could, become something big, and let's hope we become an agent of, some change, as you talk about art being an agent of change, So, and in the gallery, we do, small initiatives of such kind. Last year, we had a workshop called My Summer Garden, which was, which was a children's workshop where we had called an ornithologist, Bikram Grewal. He talked about the birds and flowers and, how intelligent these birds are. And I think this is where it truly has to start, with the younger generation. Sensitizing them, at that age, where their brains and their minds are, not tarnished or varnished by us, or they see as being normal. So that workshop was really interesting. You know, we had actually also invited the kids from the slums.
Yeah.
And Arun, they were so intelligent. I'm telling you, they were better than the city kids, you know, in a lot of ways. Their level of awareness. And then earlier this year, we showcased Subodh Kerkar's work, who also works on, natural
Right.
materials. And we showed at the Conscious Culture, where you were also
Right. Right.
showing your works.
Right.
So yes, now with lockdown, you know, we are looking at different ways of engagement
Yep.
through online shows and through dialogues and discussions like
Yep.
these.
Yep.
And so this is the first in the series, and I'm so happy that this has been most enriching for me personally, and I'm sure for others, and inspiring.
Yeah.
So we will be doing 4 more in this series, and
Okay.
we hope that you will join us
Sure.
as well, Arun,
Yeah.
and everybody else. So I wanted to thank you again for this 1 hour where you have actually opened our minds to what all can be done as an artist or as a part of an art community as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for organizing this. Really, I'm grateful for such initiatives, because this is this is like a spark, and I think we need more sparks like this, and so that will to go on. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you, Pranamita, for your time and organizing this.
Yeah, thank you, Arun, for being always very approachable and helpful to us, and also for the young artists I can see. And I would like to thank Dayanand also for coming forward to speak, because I know your practice, and I had displayed your works also, and I was thinking that why you are not speaking up. And Arun can look at Dayanand's works. His works are
Okay, I would like to look
so.
up basically.
Thank you, Anu Bajaj, and thank you all of you who have joined together and gave time to listen to us.
Okay.
So we can end it today and join again in the next session. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank you, Pranamita. Bye.